everybody. Welcome into the Mile High Hockey Podcast. I am Mike Evans, and it is, as we're talking here right now, it's Thursday morning, hours before the big showdown, the final of the Four Nations face-off, Team USA and Team Canada. And before we get into the matchup, just kind of quick reflection on what this tournament has been and what it has meant for hockey, for the NHL. An overwhelming success. I mean, there's just no way to put it. I don't care whether or not you were pessimistic about this tournament. If you were going in with I'm not really sure, I'm keeping an open mind, or if you were somebody who looked at it and said, I think this thing is going to be awesome. Doesn't matter. Even those of you who went into this thinking, I can't wait, this thing is going to be great, even you would have to admit that this tournament has exceeded your expectations. It has been an unqualified success, a home run, a hat trick. It's been tremendous. And when you think about what it means for hockey moving forward, what a jump, what a boost. I mean, I'm looking at this game coming up tonight. You had 4.4 million people watch the game last Saturday between Team USA and Canada. 4.4 million. Keep that number in mind. And with the way that game played out and now the rematch on hand, all 4.4 million of those people are going to be back watching this game. And now with all the buzz that came out of this game and the buildup to this game over the next few days, over these last several days, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. You're going to have so many more people tuning in just because they're curious. They want to see what all the hype and buzz is about. FOMO, fear of missing out. They don't want to feel like that. I would think, right, maybe the number jumps all the way up to like 6 million maybe to watch this game, which would be an astounding number. And what a number for hockey. And what a boost for the NHL. Boy, did they need it. In a year in which you've heard a lot of talk about how the ratings have been down dramatically this year, a huge boost for hockey. And I think if you really just want to sum up why this has been such a huge success, the players care. I mean, I've heard people who I know are not hockey fans, and they've said, you know what I like about this is that it's so obvious that the players really care about this, that it means something to them, that they're invested in it. And you know what? As a sports fan, if I know that it matters this much to the people playing, I'm going to tune in. I'm going to be curious. I'm going to show some interest. It may not necessarily be my number one sport, but if it's clear that the people participating in this, it means that much to them, then you know what? It's going to mean a lot to me, and I want to see what it's all about. So it's going to be a great night. It's going to be a great night for hockey. Who needs it more? That's a question. I know that I had that with my radio guys, Brandon Stokely and Mark Schlereth. Stokes says there's more pressure on Canada because this is their sport. They've dominated so much in the past, and because of that, there's so much pressure on them. I would disagree. What's the number? 37 international tournaments Canada has won. If they didn't win this one, yeah, I mean, people in Canada wouldn't be happy about it, but it's still pretty clear that, you know, Canada's the standard when it comes to what you're trying to get to as a country playing international hockey. I think there's more pressure on the U.S. for this game. And let me tell you why. They don't have nearly the kind of resume winning these kind of tournaments that Canada has. Secondly, Canada doesn't need to worry about growing their sport. Here in the U.S., the NHL, hockey, they're constantly in a battle trying to establish a foothold or improve their foothold when it comes to how do they compete with the other big sports in this country. It's been a battle. And, you know, just to kind of illustrate a little bit more, I go back to that number in the Canada game, 4.4 million viewers. Impressive number, right? And you think about, hey, man, the NHL has really looked good during their break compared to the NBA that's just getting ridiculed for their All-Star weekend. Well, even at a time when they're getting ridiculed, justifiably so, and at a time when their NBA All-Star ratings for the game, second lowest of all time when it comes to the All-Star game, do you realize that their NBA All-Star Saturday night, which was a joke, and was one of their lowest rated All-Star Saturday nights, still drew 3.4 million people? Okay, think about that. So something that was awful for the NBA and was a joke and was lowly rated got $3.4 million. This amazing hockey game between the U.S. and Canada got $4.4 million. I mean, it was a million more, which is a million people, but still not that big of a gap. So what it shows is that hockey, is fighting to continue to grow and bring in those casual fans. That's why this Four Nations face-off has been such a huge success, but it's also why I think the pressure's on Team USA to get the win in this game, because while it was great to win that game against Canada last Saturday, everybody was talking about it, it was still a round-robin game. So how much can you, claim victory if you're the U.S. if, you beat Canada in a round-robin game, but then you lost the championship game on your home ice, right? So from that standpoint, I think the pressure's on the U.S. to follow through and back up that win in Canada with a win here in the championship game. So we'll see if they can pull it off. As far as the matchup, we'll see how. I'm very curious to see how Canada responds. Hey, look, their hockey manhood is kind of on the line in this one. They got pushed around. They got beat up. The fight literally was taken to them by the U.S. The U.S. seemed like the more passionate, hungrier team. And how does Canada respond after losing the game that they did the other night? The other tail of the tape part of it, the matchup, I think you got to favor the U.S. in goal with Connor Hellebuck versus Jordan Binnington. So that should be advantage USA. But I think some of the intangibles, does the U.S. come out with the same kind of intensity that they did, same kind of hunger that they came out with that game on Saturday? Or is Canada able to match that, maybe even surpass that, knowing they were the ones that lost the first time around? The Quinn Hughes story has been fascinating. One thing about this tournament, there has been an element of, okay, are all the rules in place? Do we all have a clear idea what the rules are? Or are we kind of making it up as we go along? The Quinn Hughes one is interesting because it sure looked like in the wake of Charlie McAvoy going out with the injury that Quinn Hughes was coming. In fact, Mike Sullivan, the coach of Team USA on Tuesday, said, he's going to be here. Well, he didn't come here. Why? Well, then you get into all the reasons why. Because Team USA still had 6 healthy defensemen, you couldn't bring in somebody else unless they dropped below 6 defensemen, which led to some funny moments for Brock Faber and Jake Sanderson about Jake Sanderson in a almost like mafia style situation being driven to practice. And Jake Sanderson would be made to disappear or some phantom illness for Brock Faber so that would allow Quinn Hughes to get in the lineup. You also had the element of, Quinn Hughes would like to play, but the team that employs him, Vancouver, hasn't cleared him to play yet because there was a reason he didn't make the team. He was hurt before the tournament started, so Vancouver hasn't cleared him to play. Some people look at it and say, well, that's just Vancouver protecting their investment. Others are like, it's Vancouver, it's Canada. Why does Vancouver want to help Team USA and Quinn Hughes? So there's all kinds of elements to this, but be that as it may, it will not be Quinn Hughes. So we'll see if the Team USA down the defenseman, if they're going to be able to still get the job done. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be a great night of hockey. I think we'll all be glued to our TV sets, ready to go, and ready to watch what should be a great, great hockey game. And we'll be back next week to talk about that. The Avalanche return to action as well, so we'll have some Avs games to talk about. So it rolls on next week. But enjoy Team USA and Canada. Enjoy the Avs return. Enjoy the hockey weekend ahead of us, and we'll talk about it with you next week.